best way to go about it is to just try your best to get the best quality night's sleep every single night. All right, now we're going to talk about our common sleep disruptors. So the real issue that hits most people is not the fact that they don't have the opportunity to sleep. Most people are pretty good about making sure they have enough time in the night to get enough quality sleep. But it's the constant internal or external disruptions that wake you up. Those are the issues. So here are some of the most common issues. So first, you have your mental overload. When a person is stressed out, their nervous system is on high alert mode. It's just how the mind works. So even if you're tired, but when you're stressed out, your mind is still on overdrive, whether or not you're replaying a stressful conversation throughout the day and wondering how you're going to react to it the next day, whether you're reviewing emails in your head, planning the next day, problem solving, whatever, you're keeping your mind active. So not only is this going to delay falling asleep, but it's also going to significantly increase the amount of nighttime awakenings. Another common disruptor is light exposure, particularly from screens, bright alarm clocks, what have you. Any kind of light, including artificial light, is going to suppress the melatonin production. So even if you're exhausted, light from late night screens or anything like that is going to slowly shift your internal clock later on without you really knowing, making it much more difficult to fall asleep, and then more difficult to progress into those deep levels of sleep. Another disruptor is scheduling inconsistency. This is a huge factor. And before we go much further, I do want to make it known that everything that we talk about here and all the tips and tricks and strategies that you can implement will not work without consistency. If you're not consistent, nothing's going to work. A lot of these will take time to really start showing people benefits. So that being said, sleep inconsistency is huge. Constantly going to bed and waking up at different times throughout the week is going to disrupt your circadian rhythm. Your body loves routines. It thrives off of them. So when there are constant time routine changes, your sleep quality is going to suffer. We're going to get into that a little bit more later. So another disruptor, alcohol and late night meals. So alcohol might help some fall asleep faster. I'm sure we all know someone who is like that, who says that they sleep a lot better when they've been drinking. But it also reduces your REM sleep while increasing the amount of nighttime awakenings. So as we mentioned before, if it's reducing your REM sleep and increasing the nighttime awakenings, you're gonna lose some of those benefits of the deeper levels of sleep. But also heavy or late meals activate the body's digestion process, obviously, which can be disruptive to some. Might not be the case for everyone, but if you have a very heavy meal and your body's working on digesting it, it might be a little bit disruptive to the deeper stages of sleep. And finally, the last big disruptor is your sleep environment. So in your bedroom, things like noise, room temperature, light leaks, they might seem like minor things, but all of these little things can pull you out of the deep stages of sleep, even if it's just for a moment. What happens is people can wake up very briefly for a few moments without even knowing that it happened. Just, a little thing like a noise or just the light, just pulling them out of those deep stages of sleep. They come out of the REM sleep, N3 and N2 stages, wake up for a moment without recalling, and then they fall back asleep and have to progress through the stages over and over again, which again can take time to do it. Again, you might not remember waking up for these moments, but oftentimes it does happen when you have all these little interruptions. Excuse me. And it depending on how late into the night it is and how much sleep you've gotten beforehand, it can take a decent amount of time to progress back into those deeper levels. Now, all of these disruptors that we've listed, everyone has some degree of experience with. Maybe it's something that you're fighting on a regular basis. But the good news is these are modifiable. We can adapt. Once you know exactly what's killing your sleep quality and pulling you out of those late night sleeps, If you know what it is, we can implement a strategy to fix it. And that's why we're here today. So our first disruptor was stress. So now we're going to talk about stress reduction. Now, there are plenty of stress reduction techniques that you can do throughout the day. There's things like there's therapy, there's meditation, exercise, what have you, anything like that. But the stress reduction techniques I'm talking about specifically are for getting you back to sleep. So that being said, some nighttime stress reduction techniques, sometimes slow and controlled breathing, just laying in bed and doing slow nasal breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Those can help calm the body and slow the heart rate a little bit to help transition you into the state of sleep. Those types of deep breathing exercise have also been shown to help with stress reduction, like during the day. Also, sleep-guided meditation has been shown to increase sleep latency and improve efficiency. I've used sleep-guided meditation myself several times. It is a very effective tool for some, but also kind of depends on the kind of sleep meditation you go for. There are all sorts of them out there. Some of them very, very good. Some of them just turn the brain on. So be careful when looking at those. They can help you fall asleep and fall into those stages quicker because the relaxation of the music, the voice, what have you, is guiding you into those stages of sleep. Progressive muscle relaxation techniques can also be very, very helpful. This is what this is while you're laying in bed, flexing the muscles and then releasing them. So whether it be, flexing your thighs or your calves or your chest or something like that, and then releasing. So flex, release, and this can also help to relax the muscles and relax the body. A lot of these techniques are actually integrated into sleep meditation, so you can kind of get a 2-for-1 deal there. Okay, the next fix to a disruptor is exercise. We are a health and fitness business, so I would be remiss if we didn't at least talk about exercise. So one of the most overlooked tools for improving your sleep quality is movement. Regular movement helps the body fall asleep faster. It's proven. The more you move, the more something called sleep pressure builds up throughout the day. Sleep pressure is your body's natural drive to recover, to rest, to sleep, to recover. Strength training and resistance training also play a huge role. This is going to create a demand on the muscles and the tissues. So when you exercise, when you exert a muscle significantly, the muscle tears down. And the way that muscles grow is the tissues rebuild themselves overnight. That's when the recovery happens. So when you do strength training and create those demands on the muscles and tissues, the demand to recover, it is going to increase the sleep pressure. So this is going to tell your body that you need to recover, and it's going to help you prioritize that deep and restorative sleep, which again is when the tissues rebuild themselves. Now, some of you might be thinking, what about cardio? Cardio definitely helps, but just in a different way. Not better, not worse, just different. Aerobic movement like walking, jogging, cycling has a calming effect on the nervous system over time. So this can actually help reduce your baseline stress and anxiety and make it a lot easier for your brain to slow down at night. Again, it does build up that sleep pressure. Both of these forms of exercise do help regulate the internal body clock. Continuous movement tells the brain when it's time to be alert, but it also tells it when it's time to rest. And this helps to create these sleep patterns. Excuse me. Mental exhaustion from a day of working at a desk without physical movement is going to create poor quality sleep. Long work days, they can have you mentally exhausted, yes, but if you're not physically exerted, it can just cause more stress and make it more difficult for you to fall into those deep sleeps. All right, let's jump into sleeping myth number 3. Marijuana helps improve sleep quality. Again, I'm sure we all know somebody like this who says it helps them fall asleep, puts them in the best sleep ever, what have you. And I do also want to stress, this is not just me saying this. This is coming from peer-reviewed studies. Things like marijuana, THC, what have you, they do have sedating effects. So they can help someone fall asleep. In the short term, if you're just trying to get sleep quick, it could definitely work. But in the long run, it has actually been widely associated with reduced time in the REM sleep stage, which again is the stage responsible for emotional processing and memory integration and others. So in addition, frequent use has been linked to poor sleep efficiency over time. And then as the body gets more addicted might not be the word. As the body gets more used to products like this, the resistance is going to increase. So it's going to take increased doses just to get the same sleep effect. And then on top of that, if someone stops using products like this, it can be very, very difficult for them to get to sleep naturally, which can cause insomnia. All right, let's talk about sleep hygiene. Let's simplify the nighttime routine. What actually works? What actually works as far as optimizing your hygiene to get to sleep? So first off, again, we're going to hit this a bunch of times in this presentation. Consistency is key. It's essential for anything to work. Consistency. Going to bed and waking up at the same time is more important than sleeping for a specific number of hours. For instance, if you have to wake up by 7 every single day, keep yourself waking up at 7. Even if something happens that you end up going to bed later than normal, keep yourself waking up at that certain time so that your brain is going to program itself to realize that when 7 o'clock comes, it's time to turn on, it's time to wake up. It'll naturally pull you out of those sleep stages. Light exposure is a huge factor for getting a good night's sleep. So morning light helps the brain to wake up for the day, and bright light at nighttime does keep you from falling asleep. So in order to optimize the bedroom for sleep, products like blackout curtains, cool temperatures, reduced noise, or white noise, if that works more for you, can definitely help to calm the body and create that relaxing environment. There are some that have said that they only use their bedroom for sleep. They don't hang out in there, they don't watch TV in there, they don't work in there. It's just their sleep area, which could also be beneficial because then when you're in your bedroom, your brain knows that this is where we go to relax. This is where we go to sleep. Now, nighttime routines, when done regularly, can also help program the brain for sleep. If you have a nighttime routine consisting of things like reading, stretching, breathing exercises, journaling, what have you, all of these done on a regular basis, not all of them necessarily, but any one of them done on a regular basis can help the brain start to recognize that sleep is coming. So building up a habit like that can be very good for you. You don't need to adopt every sleep habit, but consistency on the ones you do adopt is key.